everybody. Thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp at Resource Collective for this new year, for 2021, January 5th, Tuesday. We're excited to have everybody with us today and to kick off this new year with a bunch of great content we've got scheduled and planned for everybody. As always, we want to start by first thanking all of our partners. Our community partners help us with these bootcamp sessions. We could not do these without their expertise and their knowledge, their time and effort. So we want to thank them for all that they do. For those that have not attended before and they're just picking up for this new year, the ACA Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective is designed to help small businesses work through the COVID crisis and return stronger than ever. Originally, we started it thinking it was a 6-week program back in April. But we've all realized that that this COVID crisis is something that's extended. So we have continued to extend this, and we're going to continue. We continued all through 2020 once we started, and 2021 is going to continue and be a great set of bootcamp sessions. It is a statewide initiative supported by our community partners, and as part of the bootcamp, we have a great resource collective. On our website, for the Small Business Bootcamp, you can find all the previous sessions that we've done, all the previous webinars, about 110 of them from last year. And we'll also have the recordings from this year. So you can review each week from last year, review those sessions, watch the videos, download the materials that were part of it. And we will do the same thing ongoing this year. So this session will be recorded and will be posted later today. Additionally, on that website, you can find our resource collective, and the resource collective provides additional tools for small businesses that can benefit them during this time and help them as they are open or reopening to customers, etc. This is a sample of some of the guides and resources available on the resource collective. You've got things for guidance for retail, guidance for barbershops and cosmetologists, responding to COVID at your business. There's information on manufacturing, construction, restaurants, information from the National Safety Foundation, etc. So a lot of great tools and resources available for you on our resource collective. Some quick updates to start off this new year. We all know the stimulus bill was signed on, hopefully we all know, on December 27th of 2020. We are going to have a PPP and stimulus bill bootcamp session tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's a special session. Our normal sessions run Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we occasionally do special sessions on Wednesdays. So we're excited to have that special session tomorrow. As part of the stimulus bill was the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant Program. And we have a bit of information on it with what's available right now on our website. So if you go to the financial resources at our COVID-19 page, you will find some information on that grant program. We are still waiting for more information from the SBA and from the government on more details. Additionally, the Safest Outside Restaurant Assistance Program is still going on. The deadline is coming up very quickly for that. But if you're a restaurant looking to expand your premises, that grant may be of some assistance for you. Additionally, I just found out that there's for the small businesses in Globe. So if you're in Globe or you know someone that has a small business in Globe, that the Globe Small Business Relief Fund application has opened. It opened on January 4th and will go through January 10th. Now, there's a 1-week window to apply for that. Again, if you're in Globe or know somebody with a business in Globe, they can take a look at that. Local First is running that grant program for Globe. Excuse me. So to help you stay informed with all the information on COVID, both financial resources, business guidance, and other information, you can go to our COVID-19 business resource page at azcommerce.com/COVID-19. Additionally, some of the small business programs that the ACA offers, we have our small business services. Our workforce division can help with training and hiring of employees. And our Arizona Manufacturing Extension Partnership, Arizona MEP, is there to help support manufacturers throughout the state with their needs. Additionally, in this time, a lot of people are looking to start their own side business or new business. And we have our small business checklist at azcommerce.com/small biz. And this is an interactive online resource to help people understand the licensing, registration, compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal levels. Great resource. Just a quick reminder as well for the state's COVID-19 information and resource page, arizonatogether.org. And then a reminder for this week, we've got our Building Your Mindset for Successful 2021. Tomorrow we have our special session, and then Thursday we have our Creating a Successful 2021 business plan. Looking forward to that session as well. So with that in mind, we're going to turn the time over to Mark Kirstein and Link with Sandler Training. They've been with us before. We really appreciate all of their help and expertise on their sessions. They do a great job. So Mark, we're going to go ahead and turn the time over to you and let you get started.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it, Robert. So, and welcome to my business partner, Link, as well. We'll both be playing off each other or discussing the topic today. I appreciate everybody joining us and getting a great start to 2021. So the origin of this, give me a minute while I get prepped here. We're always looking at various topics, as far as building your business successfully. And it's obviously not all about the skills and the behaviors on a day-to-day basis. A big part of it ends up being about your mindset or your attitude. And so part of what we do on a regular basis is share thoughts, share insights. I shared a post on mindset on LinkedIn, and Robert was gracious enough to comment on it and then say, hey, maybe we should talk about this on one of our upcoming ACA webinars. And so that was the genesis of what we're going to talk about today, is just this mindset. This mindset topic, which for me is an extremely interesting and intriguing topic, because my background, I started off my career as an engineer, and engineers are not always known for the spiritual side or the attitude side. They're more of the task oriented, get things done, analyze things, don't make mistakes. But I've been on a journey for the last 35 years exploring or opening up new mindset opportunities that expand our horizons, and things that all of us should do. And what you'll see today is we talk about the origin of mindset, how we can push ourselves into the right mindset, and not just rah-rah session, but actually some techniques, some specific things that you can put into place that you can use to help yourself get in the right mindset. Because it's not just about, I want to be positive, so I'm going to say positive things. There's more to it than that. But at the same time, when we combine it with the rest of our world, and you'll see as we run through some of our discussion points today, you'll see a combination of some Sandler material, some material from all over the place, things that I've come across, and revelations, if you will, where as I came across new ways of looking at things or new perspectives, I realized that this topic has been around for centuries, if not longer than centuries, like thousands of years. And so one of the people that I'll rely on or lean on as during our presentation is a person that, if you don't know, from history, a little bit of history, but also famous author Napoleon Hill, just unbelievably insightful and astute in this mindset, in how to help your mindset get together, and literally from 100 years ago, right? So from 100 years ago, and you read his book, Think and Grow Rich, they're in the middle of a economic depression. They're moving from the traditional economy to an industrial age that's completely changing. And they're trying to introduce new concepts or new ways of life. But at the same time, looking at the people who've been wildly successful, in that day, it was the Carnegies and the JP Morgans of the world. and trying to replicate some of the things that made them successful. In today's world, it's the tech giants of the world that are in a similar spot and similar perspective. But our world is, how do we survive? How do we learn from others who have done this for 100 years or 1,000 years? And how do we combine, in the case of the Sandler perspective here, combine our attitude, our behavior, like what we do on a regular basis, how we motivate ourselves, how we accomplish things, what our actions involve, along with our techniques or skills to create this triangle of success. And as I said, we're going to lean a little bit on Napoleon Hill, but it's not exclusively on him, because there's so many other great people in the motivational space, in the mindset space, who've leveraged similar concepts, and it's amazing to see how consistent they are in the way that they approach these things. So let's start off with this question: why does attitude carry so much influence? Now, when we talk about the success triangle of attitude, behavior, and technique, often we'll encourage a debate. Which one is most important, your attitude, your behavior, and your technique to being successful? And of course, there's always a debate. There's no absolute right answer, but I always come down on the side of the attitude is always going to be the influencer that impacts behavior, impacts your technique, impacts your perceptions. But Link, what is your take on, what is it about attitude that makes it have so much influence on our success?
It's sorry for the upper. It's literally one of the aspects of our attitude, behavior, technique. Attitude is one of the things you can control internally. You can control it by your observation. You can control it around all those things. Right? While behavior is important, it's very, very important. The attitude, that if you lose, that's okay. If you fail, that's even better, because you can learn from those things. So it's really about the attitude piece of understanding that failure is part of success. And in fact, if you think about it, I don't know about you, Mark. Oh, I do know about you, Mark. Failure has bred every success that you've had. You didn't learn how to walk unless you fell down. You didn't learn how to fall down, unless you learn how to walk. They were two connected things. So they have to be together. So you have to think about failure leads to success. And that's an attitude mindset.
Oh, absolutely. And I've shared this with you many times. The probably pinnacle of one of the successes that I have is when I did a management buyout of a market research company that I was leading, and bought the business, and then a year and a half later sold the business. And all of the guts, determination, and some of the skill sets that I needed in order to accomplish that were created by the failure that I had in 2008 from a startup that I was running that didn't make it through the 2008 recession, but gave me the skill sets and tools that I needed later to accomplish interesting things. But failure leads to success.
Which it's interesting. We've talked about this. 2020 was a failure. It was a failure on multiple levels, and it's going to scar us for years. But those scars build character. That builds that process. If we think through these things, how we failed, because I know I didn't, you didn't, none of us did, had a pandemic on our SWOT analysis under threats. So this year we don't have to have it there, because it's already there, and we know how to adjust the places that we need to adjust. But that's about mindset and attitude. Then becomes behavior. But I will also give you this on one little piece on the behavior side of things. We'll talk about this. For those of us who are old football players like myself, you could have a horrible attitude, but if you got up in the morning and got out there and started running around and exercising and getting out there and got your first hit, that behavior turned into a great attitude after that, because it helps to feed the two. So they're all connected.
Well, and that I think circles back to the debate that I was talking about before, is you need to have the stamina, which is the initial attitude to get out and do the behaviors, but then the behaviors take over and help build the attitude even stronger. Absolutely. Now we'll explore this a little bit more as we progress, because again, we're not just going to preach about how important attitude is. We're going to show you some techniques about what you can do to help migrate your attitude, and we'll explain exactly what that means. But this quote from Napoleon Hill is just so telling. If you study or you look at people who are successful, the first thing they have is they have a goal. they set out and say, here's what I want to accomplish. Here's what I want to do. So that's part of the attitude, is being able to put your stake in the ground and say, I am here to achieve something. Here's what it is. Second thing that they have is they have commitment. And that's where the failure comes in, right? Because they have a commitment that says, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful and to achieve that goal. And I realize sometimes I'm going to stub my toe. Sometimes I'm going to fall over and do a face flop, but that's okay. I'm going to get back up and I'm going to drive and I'm going to commit to it. And the third thing they have is they have a plan. It's not just wishful thinking. You have to build a plan. You have to decide how you're going to go about accomplishing what you're going to do. But it all starts with that attitude of setting up where it is. Now, as I said, it's not all about Napoleon Hill. This list could go on and on and on. These are just ones that I personally have read material from them or saw material from them that has the same concepts that we're talking about here. You know, Simon Sinek, Stephen Covey, Angela Duckworth, and Grit, Brian Tracy, Dale Carnegie. Hopefully you know a lot of these names. Joe Dispenza, you may not know quite as well, but he has a book called The Power of it's breaking the habit of being yourself and achieving what you want. Because the first thing you have to do when you want different results or better results in your life is you have to change your habits, because your habits are define what you're doing every day. But you know, again, as I was looking at some of this material, I came across these concepts from Freud. Came across, you know, I mean, these flow through psychology, they flow through neurology, they flow through motivational speakers. You know, this is not stuff that just one person made up or that we at Sandler made up and brought to you. We're just kind of crystallizing it or conceptualizing it. So let's take a minute to explore what is mindset. And as we look at mindset, one of the things that's important for us to consider in the mindset is that only, you know, our thought processes, our brains, the way that we think, about 10% of it is conscious thought. 90% of it is subconscious thought. Now, I brought up the book on habits. Habits are subconscious, right? We've done things, we repeated them to the point where they become second nature. They're repeatable. We don't have to put a lot of mental energy into them. So, you know, they fit into that mindset of part of your mindset is your habits. But of course, your belief system, how do you believe things? How do we come to conclusions? What do we filter information from? Our values, our habits. And of course, there's a little element of it called willpower that's at the surface. And again, as I explore these topics, and I'll let you chime in as well for a moment, Link, but as I explore these topics, it just occurred to me, our debate between behavior and attitude, which comes first? First thing you need is the willpower to be able to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the behaviors today, even if I don't feel like it, which is conscious thought, right? So part of it is conscious thought, part of it, and especially in order to build the success that I know everybody on this line is looking for when you're exploring the mindset, you have to modify your subconscious thought. That has to be part of your mindset, because if you don't believe it, if you don't believe in your success, if you don't believe in your goals that you're trying to accomplish, your subconscious thought will be working against you. So let's make sure that as we think about changing our mindset and having a positive mindset for 2021, we understand how do we go about also migrating our subconscious mind to be in alignment with our conscious mind. What do you think, Link?
I think I'm absolutely on board with you, Mark, on this. Even to the point of when you look at this thing, habits here, the third bullet point here, and the illustration of this, by the way, the illustration, it's really not 90-10, unless you're using magnification on the iceberg in the air, because it doesn't look right, but just plain. But anyways, habits, you think about it, producing a habit is, why do we need that? We need a desire, which is that willpower thing that you're mentioning. We have to have that desire to go after that. And that is that habit also, once we've accomplished that habit, such as baseball swing or catching a pass or a golf swing, we do that because we're trying to imitate that habit, or we're actually trying to imitate, and there's a status and an ego that we want to have driven to that. So when we think about our status, what the status, habits develop status, and status helps develop or reinforce habits. So when we continue this, when you talk about that belief system, the values, the habits, the willpower, absolutely. Willpower, the desire to be like somebody else, to have something else, to go after that, and really having that willpower to go, it's okay to fail. It's okay to learn. It's okay to keep moving forward. So it's brilliant points, Mark. I don't know. This is the mindset piece, looking back at 2020 and looking forward to 2021 or where we're at. There's nothing but opportunity here. There's nothing but opportunity. Just change the way you look at it.
Yep. So one of the things that is intriguing to me, and I've learned so much as I've moved from really being anchored in an engineering mindset to being much more spiritual and much more philosophical and insight driven, intuitive driven, is being able to bridge those things together. Being able to say, wait a minute. If I have a positive mindset, if I have got a positive attitude to the world, I'm going to be more successful, and realize that that's not just psychobabble. That's not just this imaginary power of positive thinking in a vacuum. It's actually flows through to the neurology of the way that our brains work. So let me share this. Maybe it'll relate to you, maybe others it won't relate to, but as a science-based person, it really related to me. Our belief system is based on neural connections, right? We have enough experiences, we see things, we observe things, we see what's happening in our world, things that have happened to us, and we form neural connections between the neurons that become part of our thoughts, part of our beliefs. And once we've started to create a belief system that we believe this is the way that the world is, then everything from the conscious mind that comes into our world is looking for confirmation bias. And it's a term that I'm sure we've heard a lot. People are always looking to confirm themselves, but it is psychological and neurological that we seek things that are going to confirm our belief system. So if a piece of new information, I liken it to a puzzle. We've now created a puzzle that makes up our belief system, and there's missing pieces that are coming in every day in terms of new information, new changes, new opportunities, and we're filtering those through the puzzle, trying to understand, does this piece of information or this opportunity fit my belief system? And it becomes so powerful, because if we have a positive belief system, then a new piece of information comes in, we put it into that positive belief system, and it works and it fits. And if a piece of negative information comes in, we've got a positive belief system, we look at it and we say, that doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with my belief system. It doesn't make any sense. And we discard it, right? We discard the negative, we embrace the positive. The exact opposite reigns true as well. If you've got a negative belief system, then positive stuff can happen. There can be opportunities out there, but you're going to miss them because they're not going to fit with the context of our outlook. So look for ultimately what this tells me is that this neurology that drives the power of positive thinking is really a filtering mechanism and an activity mechanism that allows us to say, if I create a positive filter, then I'm going to accept the positive pieces, reject the negative pieces, and I'm going to have a positive outcome. Because I'm programmed that way. It's just the set our mindset for success. And by the way, this entire puzzle that we're putting together here is the subconscious. It's the beliefs. It's not the conscious mind. The conscious mind may look and say, yeah, consciously it's an opportunity, or consciously it's a negative, but the subconscious is sitting back there going, I'm just filtering through what I believe, how I see things. And this is also, I set this up simply because this is the key to how we reprogram, or how we program our subconscious mind into a positive mindset, so that we can get the success that we're looking for. So Lee, why don't you take us through this, how do we go about changing? We've talked a lot about beliefs, right? So beliefs are based on the history of our experience and what we've observed, and over time we've committed that from our conscious mind to our unconscious mind. Now we've got a set of beliefs. We're going to filter our judgments through that, which is going to drive our actions, and it's going to drive the results. But now, how do we change them?
Well, let's do it in a bit of a story. So the belief systems that, for those of us who have ever raised or been around little children or little small humans, Mark, yes? Okay. There's a belief system that we have as parents that the child is supposed to be a certain way. And that's based off of our raising, how we were raised, how we were thinking. But you gotta remember, that child is a blank plate, just kind of like this wall back here. Just, there's really not, they understand the ability, they have the ability to think, but we teach them how to think. We teach them, so we help them to create their judgments. And we think this is good or that's bad or that's whatever that might be. And we all have our judgment pieces. But those judgments lead to actions because those judgments actually denote decisions. And that actually is a decision that we made this decision, we do this action, and then we get this result. And that result is that it reinforces our belief system. So to your point, if we're a person who sees the world as the proverbial half empty, okay, that could be, in most cases, that's a negative context. In some cases, someone might say, that's a good thing because I didn't want a full glass. That's okay too. But the belief system creates that. So a person who is a half glass person, okay, recognize this. So the belief is you hand them a glass, it's half empty. They might go and they're going to take this judgment. Well, how could you give me a glass that's half full? And their actions might be to struggle up their eyebrows and make a weird face. And they do that because that result that they're looking for is a response from them and from the other person. And that response is the other person, the nonverbal communication that just happened there, or maybe even verbal communication that happened there, because the other person responds, oh, let me fill your glass up. So that can be a belief system that if I do those actions, I can get a full glass. Now, somebody else who gets a half glass and goes, thank you, because they see it as a positive, because you gave them something, or something, they receive something, and their actions are to be thankful, and they get the result because they make a better impression with the other person. Now, people that are half glass, that take it as a negative, they'll bond over that piece. People that are half glass, that they just got something and happy, they're going to bond over that piece as well. And it just continues that flow. So how do we change our mindset? Well, one thing, when you get that glass, whether it be half empty or half full, somebody gave you something. So if we take it as a positive, we can then move through that presence as it's positive. All of those places and how we segment this, or how we go through this, is through our mindset and our willingness to take that attitude that whatever happened before happened for a reason. We're here to learn from it, and let's make the next judgment. Let's not judge what just happened to us now based on what happened in the past. Live in the present and have one eye towards the future. And that's that, looking at the judgments, that it's going to lead me somewhere. If you think about it, another little quick story here. All of us are sitting in rooms right now and have lights on in them. Thomas Jefferson, I keep messing this. Thomas Edison was asked by a reporter one time, Edison, and notice his tonality, Edison, how do you feel about failing to create a light bulb after 10,000 tries? And Edison looked at the young man and said, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways how not to build a light bulb. And here we are with his invention all these years later. Attitude. Yep. Beliefs, judgment, action, results, all tied together.
Well, it strikes me from what we've talked about already, we'll dig into this a little bit more, but there's two elements that we're working on in parallel here in order to change our mindset. One element is the beliefs, and beliefs are in our subconscious mind. They're not the conscious mind, but we can look at the opportunity and the ways, the methods of reprogramming the subconscious mind. That starts with our conscious mind, of consciously saying, okay, I could view the glass as half empty, but I can also view it as, I'm so glad that somebody was gracious enough to give me a cup of water. and maybe it's not the water that I thought that I was going to get, but that's okay. I've started off, right? So I consciously review my belief system and say, is there a way of reframing my mindset into a positive sense? But that's just the willpower that's going on at that stage. It's the conscious mind willpower overcoming it. If it's going to last, if it's going to stick, we have to transfer it into the subconscious or unconscious minds, which means we have to put it into action. We have to say, okay, now that I've reframed my thinking, what actions should I take based on this reframed thinking? Let's skip the longer path, because the longer path will come of changing the unconscious mind, but let's put it immediately into action and see if I get different results. And when I do get those different results, then suddenly my unconscious mind starts paying attention, going, hey, look, we did this and that worked. We did this and that worked. We did this and that worked. Repeat it, have confidence in it. We'll get into the details of how to go about doing that. But now we're reprogramming the subconscious mind to have the new belief system sustainable, not just driven by willpower, but actually fundamentally believing that I deserve the success that's coming at my way because I've done the hard work and I'm confident that I'm going to be successful with what I'm looking at. So we're reprogramming both at the same time. One with the belief system and the willpower that transfers into subconscious mind over time, and two with the I'm going to take the actions right away because that's going to reinforce it and that's going to transfer it over. So let's take a look at just a few of these, positive and negative belief systems. And again, this is rhetorical because we're on a webinar, we can't have the interactivity, but if you're assigned a task, what comes first to mind? All the reasons you can't accomplish that task or how you're going to go about doing it and what you're going to feel like after you've been successful at the task, right? That's important to start to think about, if I characterize myself, if I characterize, not only the results that I anticipate in a positive sense, but how am I going to feel? And again, if we went back to Napoleon Hill, one of the directions or prescriptions that he has in this is you can't just say it and have it mean something or have it reprogram your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is based on emotions and based on feelings. And so if you're going to reprogram that unconscious mind, you need to trick your unconscious mind in a sense to say, how am I going to feel when I'm successful? And that will now start the path to reprogramming your unconscious mind to say, I'm going to feel great. And subconscious understands feelings, so it's going to look for opportunities to make that happen for you.
The kicker here sometimes is this: once you've had a new experience, stop, hold back, just stop, and think about how you feel, and go through all your senses. Go through your smell, your sight, your smell, sight, taste, and feeling. Feel what you're feeling right that moment. Once you've experienced something different or new, and try and anchor to that. And as you anchor to that, you might recognize, oh, there's a whole new sensation here. There's a whole new thing. And that can be either scary or that can be invigorating. Either way, it's still a feeling, and just anchor to it.
Yep. So I'm not going to go through all of these and read them out. There's just one, a couple that are important to me. How do you think about your marketplace? Do you have a mindset of abundance? A mindset of, there's plenty of opportunity out there. The market may be flat, but there's, I don't have enough share to worry about whether the market's flat or declining. I can take share from other people. Or do you have a universe of scarcity and limited opportunity, in which case you're going to live in a world of scarcity and limited opportunity? And then the big kicker, which we're here to talk about today, is 2021 outlook. We can look at it, hey, we're in a pandemic, hey, we're in an economic challenge, the economy is weak, things are not the way that they're ultimately supposed to be in our view, but we can also look at everything is changing right now. There's so many changes, there's so many shifts, and some companies are going to be successful at navigating those shifts, some are going to be unsuccessful, and consumer needs and business needs are going to change in response to the changing economy and changing economic environment. And those changes all create opportunity. who's going to fill the new needs that are emerging, who's going to fill the gap that's created when other companies don't respond quickly enough or effectively, and suddenly there's room for me. One of the things, and I'm curious if you've seen the same thing, I am fascinated, Link, by how many businesses I've met who started in 2008, like opened their doors in 2008, and realizing that we're in that same environment in 2020, 2021, meaning, people, may not have the employment that they thought they had before. They may be looking to change or do something different because of all this disruption. And they're starting businesses that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I'm going to be talking to them going, hey, you've got a successful, great business. When did you start? 2020, 2021.
Move my cheese.
That's the opportunity that's sitting out there right now in 2021 is, it's there, it's waiting for us.
The hunter-gatherers got to get out there and start doing their thing.
So let's look at a couple. We talked about how do we reframe our beliefs. One of the things that people often will find a little bit challenging in a discussion like this is, what are my self-limiting beliefs? And these may be self-limiting on a personal level. They may be self-limiting on a business, overall business level, since a lot of us are entrepreneurs running our own business. If you can't come up with them, try and evaluate the if only list. If only my company could or couldn't, if only the pricing was or wasn't. And then those identify where our belief system may be misaligned with the success that we're looking for. So let's look at how we can reframe those beliefs into a positive sense. Pricing, is Sandler training fundamentally, we start off with a sales training methodology that goes through a systematic process of how to get to the emotional triggers to make people buy and close deals faster and not waste your time on things. And pricing comes up all the time. It's like, yeah, you would like to do that if only my pricing was competitive, if only the competitors weren't undermining me, if only, right? So I hear that. And pricing, why are our prices higher than our competitors?
Why are you trying to do the same thing everybody else is doing? Everybody else is competing on price. That makes no sense. If I want to be a show pony, I got to be a show pony. I got to look different, act different, be different. Attitude, behavior, technique, mindset.
Well, and it always strikes me that I have customers and my customers pay my prices that are higher than my competitors. Why is that? Well, why is it? Because my customers get value, because I have relationships, because there's more to what I offer than just price. And if I want to compete on price, I'm probably, I better build my entire business model around it, or else I have no business competing on price. Let's figure out what is that value proposition. Let's start with, since our topic today is mindset, let's start with the confidence and cockiness, if you will, to say, I get better prices because I've got a better product, because I do better with my clients, and my clients pay that additional price happily and are willing to pay the extra. And then we can work on the technique as to how to help your prospects understand what that value proposition is and help them overcome their resistance, because they're programmed to think of price first also. But ultimately, it has to start with us having a fundamental confidence in our company, in our products, in our personal ability to be successful.
Do or do not. There is no try. Either you succeed or you don't succeed, which actually goes back to Epictetus, who said there's only one way to lift something up and one way not to lift it up. So keep that in mind. Control what you can control, which is your attitude, your mindset. Can't control anybody else's, but you can help influence it.
All right. So again, we highlight Napoleon Hill in this context, although we've been talking some of the Sandler, belief wheel system, how to reframe your beliefs in a positive sense. But when it comes to reprogramming our subconscious mind, which is ultimately what we're going to have to do in order to, realize the success that we believe, commitment. We've got to decide what it is that we want, and we've got to commit to it. We've got to say, I'm in. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to do what it takes in order to be successful. And that leads right into conviction. Notice that we start with the commitment and the conviction. The belief will follow. The belief is the subconscious mind, adapting. But, the interesting thing to me is that the subconscious mind is not nearly as analytical, or it doesn't analyze things or look at things through a filter of reason. It looks at things through a filter of emotion and belief system, meaning that one of the things I want to do when I'm trying to reprogram my subconscious mind, state your success as though it has already happened. Right, so think about that for a moment. It's an interesting concept. You don't put it as I'm going to be successful, and when I'm successful, I'm going to feel like this. Put it in a different context. This is part of reframing your brain. I am successful, and I feel this way because of the success that I've achieved. And I'm not talking about the success that I have today. I'm still talking about the future success, but I'm putting that future success that I've committed to, that I've made put my convictions towards. I put that into a present tense of it's already happened. And when it is already happened, your subconscious mind starts to say, okay, that filter, that puzzle that I talked about that says this is the way that my life is, I have to create that. I have to make that a reality because it's already here. It's already on us. So in a sense, we've hacked, in the common parlance of technology and the like, we've hacked our subconscious brains to bring the future into the present and get our subconscious to believe that the success we're planning on has already happened, and it will drive everything else, because now our belief systems change, our judgments change, our actions change. We feel good about our actions. We feel good about our results because the results are going to fit into that picture. Link, what else would you like to add on this, Brent?
Oh, I was just thinking about the possibilities that this reprogramming can do. Because, Edward Bernays' book, who was also the nephew of Sigmund Freud, on his book called Propaganda, which propaganda is not a good or bad word, it's just a word. It just describes an action. Really created the fact that we have opportunities or helps us to see these opportunities. So I would just keep that in mind, is that, having the grit, having the opportunity, having the places, you have those opportunities. I have those opportunities. We all have these opportunities. It's whether or not you got your right eye open to see it, or even this one. If you can see the opportunity for what it is, stop worrying about spilled milk. We all have spilled milk. The cow's right there. The opportunities are there. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, and I think that's what makes this such a great time to contemplate this topic. We're starting a new year. We're in the middle of a challenging period, but we're starting a new year. We have the opportunity to create a fresh start. It can't just be rhetoric. 90% of the folks on the phone here, you're going to listen to this, you're going to think it's interesting, but you're not actually going to do anything. You're not actually going to change anything one way or another. You do what you do, and that's okay. Everybody has free will to choose where they want to go. But what I would say is, if you want to take advantage of this opportunity to change your mindset, make the commitment to actually do some of these things. We're not in a position to walk you through every piece of that on the phone call here, but we are in a position to recommend some of the resources, some of which I'm showing you already. The Think and Grow Rich, 100 years old, is still a great book for reprogramming your mindset. It's one of the best recommended books that people have had. The Joe Dispenza book, it's actually just a modern representation of Think and Grow Rich. Says things in a slightly different way, but the concepts are all basically the same. Commit to what you want to do, write it down, repeat it, convince, if you will, reprogram your subconscious mind. In the case of Joe Dispenza, the power of habit, right? Create new habits that are based on a new belief system, that are based on new outcomes. Trick your do it, and it comes from first off, you've got to write down, here's what I want to accomplish, and here's the period of time that I want to accomplish. And then translate how you're going to feel accomplishing those things into emotion, because that's a key part of reprogramming your unconscious minds, is to translate it into the feeling. So write it in the context of it's already happened and this is what I'm going to feel when it's already happened, and then repeat it and to put it into action. Repeat it and put it into action and play it out. And the success that you're looking for is going to follow. It's going to follow that belief system change.
Wait. Are you talking about practice? You mean you got to practice?
If you want to create habits, you have to have reinforcement. You've got to practice. You've got to keep pushing these things in. You've got to take that success statement and that success belief system. You have to rephrase it. You have to recommit to it every day, over and over and over again, until you create the habit in your subconscious mind that says this is reality. This is not just, it starts with willpower, because the willpower is where we're all at right now. Am I actually going to write down that commitment? Am I actually going to write down this success statement to start this process? But then the follow-up comes with consistency over and over and over again until your subconscious brain believes it. Once your subconscious brain believes it, you're in. I mean, the success that you programmed yourself is going to come your way. So I'm going to translate this concept a little bit into ourselves, into our own personal lives, right? So I've talked a little bit more broadly. What do I want to accomplish in 2021? What do I want to accomplish for myself? What do I want to accomplish for my business? But it's also important that we have self-confidence about who we are and how we're going to be successful. Now, this is a concept that Sandler brings in, that it separates role from identity. We don't have time to go through all of the detail of it, but let me just tell you that the roles are the things that we do every day. They're important to us, and we have a tendency to translate them over into our identity over time. Now, this is just, however long we've been on this earth, we've repeated our roles. When we're successful in our roles, we feel good. When we're unsuccessful, we feel like we've let ourselves down. But at the same time, if we are consciously aware that there's a difference between our roles and our identity. The roles are what we do, and we'll put on different roles throughout the day, throughout our lives, but they're still basically what we do. Our identity is who we are, fundamentally and foundationally who we are. So if you ask me, did you have a good tennis game today? I'm going to tell you, no, I don't. And I'll tell you, secondly, no, I didn't. And I'll tell you, secondly, it has no effect on my identity whatsoever. Why? Because I have no role identity confusion between my tennis game and my identity, because I don't play tennis. Right? So it's not important to me. But if you ask me a very difficult one, are you a good father? Are you a good parent? Now, I'll tell you, being a parent, being a father is still a role. It's still a particular instance of who I am. It's not all of who I am, but my role and identity really blend together when it comes to parenthood. If I feel like I made a mistake as a parent or as a, in that role, it bleeds into my identity. And if I did a bad job, then I feel bad about myself. It's okay, it's human, but at the same time, maintain that separation. Always convince yourself, take the mindset that your identity is perfect. Your identity, and not because we're like perfect human beings or the like, but if we were born a 10 and we were a 10 when we were 5 and we were 10 when we were 10 years old, we were 10 when we were 40 or 50 years old, when did we stop being exactly who we're supposed to be? Right? I mean, we are what we are. Feel good about it and convince yourself that you're always a winner and a 10 on the identity side. Your role will fit the bill. If you believe in yourself, your role, your performance in your role will step up to get you right back where you are. So that means that you can fail. Is what you started off the conversation with, Link, is I had a failure. Does that mean that I am a failure? No. I had a failure. I'm going to try again until I win, and I'm going to keep going until my role fits my identity, which is the winner.
You know, if you think, we've all been winners. There are 7 billion people on this earth and counting. You're one of them. That automatically generates you as a winner. Does not make you an excellent, but it does make you a winner. And we can win and win and win and win. And losing is, like you said, I lost. It's a past tense thing. It's a past. I can be losing, but once you say, like even when I say I'm losing, I'm working my way to not have the loss. I'm working out of that. And sometimes you got to take your wins, that your win was, you still got breath. Always got that win. You always got that win. Mindset, take care of your mind. Realize that when you get, like Mark said, like you said, Mark, if I have a bad day being a dad, it does bleed over because it's so emotionally tied. But as I'm getting older, I realize it's okay. I had a bad day being dad. I get to be a better day being a better dad tomorrow.
That's where the conviction comes in, because if we set our identity at a 10, we will keep trying. We will take the losses in stride, and we'll keep working and working and working until things come together. So, the Sandler rule, which Sandler's got a bunch of rules, is mostly just to remember the concepts that are played out, but you can only perform in a manner that's consistent with how you see yourself conceptually. So mindset wise, I need to see myself conceptually as high as possible. I need to build myself up. I need to spend the time to nurture my identity and build it up. And then my performance will pull itself up. Now, this is not all that different from the concepts we've been talking about today. It basically says I need to program my unconscious mind to believe that I will be successful, and then my conscious mind will adapt and force myself to meet the expectations of my unconscious mind. And my mindset is now transformed. I'm transformed into, what am I going to achieve in 2021? Because it's a slate that has an unbelievable amount of opportunity. And if I follow the system of reprogramming myself into a positive mindset, I'm going to be able to realize that success, and it's going to feel great. It's going to feel wonderful. Starts today.
Yes, it does.
So what's next for 2021 success? Again, we're starting to roll towards the end of our discussion for today, but it starts with setting your mindset. Don't be, well, again, I'm not here to tell you what to be or don't be, but if you want to change your mindset to the positive sense, do something about what we're talking about today. Write down your goals, write down what you want to achieve and your statements of success, feel the emotion behind them, and start reprogramming yourself into the success that you're looking for. Now we got to take the next steps, which is the goals. What are those specifically? And again, we're not going to get into SMART goals, but specific, measurable, attainable. Set out those goals, because people who set goals are more successful than people who don't, even for those who don't achieve the goals. It's been scientifically proven, statistically proven, I guess I should have said. And then once we've got our goals, plan and execute your behavior. So now we're translating it to the other side of the success triangle that we talked about at the very beginning. I've reset my mindset on a positive sense. I'm going to use that mindset to change my behavior. My behavior is going to reinforce that until it becomes a habit, until it becomes embedded in my subconscious mind. And then I'm going to execute on that with a plan. And along the way, I'm going to tune my skills. Because if I expect to achieve the goals that I'm looking for, to consistently deliver on the behavior that I expect from myself and that I set myself up for, I also want my skill set, my techniques to be on par and to be as good as they can be. And that again requires some level of reinforcement of those skills and know what to do in order to achieve the sales that you're looking for, in order to achieve the business management, business transformation that you're looking to achieve. And I think that with that, I will only end on this note that, This deck will be available through the ACA. We'll ship it over to them. You can download this after the fact. You know, the Napoleon Hill 6-step formula for success kind of plays to the things that we've just been talking about, but it is systematic and it requires what we talked about here, which is start by committing to something, set yourself up for success, go through that program. So Link, what else would you like to share as we finish up?
Go forth in 2021 and make your world what you want your world to be. And have fun failing as you get to where you need to go. You know that there's a destination.
That's a great addition, is let's have fun along the way. I mean, if we don't enjoy achieving the things that we set out to do, what are we doing it for? So have fun, enjoy this ride, enjoy what we're doing. It's going to be a great year and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. Robert?
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Link, for this excellent presentation. Mindset's so important. Link, you mentioned sports. You know, if you go into a game thinking you're going to lose, you're going to lose. If you go in thinking you're going to win, even if you're the underdog, you know, you can win. And you may not, but you still learn from it. You know, I think of all the opportunities we have to learn from our mistakes, others' mistakes, things that happened a long time ago. Napoleon Hill's book, it's almost 100 years old, but we can still learn from it.
And if you really want to get wonky, if you really want to go further with Napoleon Hill, get his second book that took him 70 years to release, which was Outwitting the Devil. But read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich first.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time and your expertise on this session. Just a reminder, everybody, this session is being recorded and will be posted on our website a little bit later today, hopefully, if not tomorrow, along with the slide deck will be posted. And you can go back and review that anytime you want. Also, a reminder, on that same website, you can register for tomorrow or other upcoming sessions that we have. And again, tomorrow's session is our PPP update and talking about the new PPP program and the stimulus package and how it impacts small businesses. So we're really excited about that session. With that in mind, we are hitting that time frame, so we will go ahead and wrap up. Again, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Link, for this great presentation, and we will see you ready tomorrow. Have a great day.
All right, thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
I always feel like the little magic mirror. Hi, Randy. I see Terry. I see Timothy. I see Milan. I see the magic.
Yeah, I love Zoom. Thanks, guys. Mark, Link, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.